Shout out to our Patreon producers for helping make this show happen. Who are they? Let me read them off to you. Trevor Starkey, Joe Beezer, Mohammed, Blackjack, Steven Johnson, Scott Hardinger, Fanatic Gamer 1986, Drunk on Writing, DJ Kento, Neil Maraquin, Sancho West, James Gastings, Ben Fraley, Eduardo Cabrera Lechuga, Michael Howard, hey, Snowbike Mike, Daniel Haynes, Casey Kern, and Mateus Forshim. Thank you all for supporting us. You too can support us. Patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode 208 of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. As always, I'm Tim Gettys, joined by two of my favorite people in the world. We got Andy Cortez and Fran Mirabella.
We're sitting really close to each other.
It's good. It's really, you guys don't really know that.
Well, it's because like when we do GOG, like Nick's over here.
Yeah, he's like off the table.
Yeah, he's like right here.
Yeah, he's just like leaning in.
I hate that
like,
angle, man. I hate that angle.
Yeah,
No, I liked
good.
it.
It's real good.
I like the 3/4 view, you know?
Isometric is what they call it in the biz.
I didn't know Andy was going to be on today. I'm excited.
Yeah, I didn't either until like yesterday. I was
Perfect.
like, you know what? This is going to be a great show to have you guys on specifically. Greg still gallivanting the world. Jared, R.I.P.
Miller.
I heard he died. It's crazy.
What?
And
well, you guys fired him.
he was
talk about
fired.
it.
Yeah. But we're figuring all that
The
stuff
ongoing
out.
joke.
Also, we know that the intro still has Jared in it. There's not much we can do about that right now because we have way too much going on. We are going to change that soon.
I think keep it for a while.
We're gonna keep it for a while.
It took a while of having him on the show before we.
I'm hoping to have the new intro.
No, that's not true, Kevin. It was ready day one.
Yeah, no, that's not.
Don't worry
it was
about it.
ready day one.
The
we
more
didn't
important-
have it put in.
That's right.
For several weeks.
Yeah.
The more important fact, I was not in the intro on my shows for several till I got
And it's always going to be,
Yeah,
just,
that's just how it
there's
is.
a lot going on. But I will say,
There's a delay.
I'm hoping we have the new version done by March.
Yeah, March sounds fine.
March.
Yeah.
There's some cool things we're working on.
Yeah.
Well,
because
you'll
you have
see.
to like announce if there's any changes with
Exactly.
the intro
We're
or
still
whatever.
working on a
that's
couple
enough.
things here and there and whatevs. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Kind of Funny Games cast each and every week right here on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. We get together, talk about video games, all the things that we love about them. You can get the show early by going to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. And if you are at the silver membership level, you get the show early. How early? You can be watching live right now as we record it every Thursday, or you can just get the video and audio early on Friday. Or if you don't want to give us money, that's cool. I don't recommend not giving us money, but hey, if that's how you want to live your life, Monday, 6 a.m., youtube.com/kindoffunnygames and podcast services around the globe. Just search for Kinda Funny Gamescast. I love you. There's just a stupid level of humor that I feel like me and you share.
No, it's because like
when it
around
comes to
the globe.
table, yeah.
No, Greg does the around
He
the
does.
globe
I
on
think
Games
he
Daily.
does.
On Games Daily. And then
No,
one
he
time,
doesn't.
No, he
yeah, he
definitely-
does.
no.
He
he
does
doesn't.
something.
He doesn't.
No.
There's some,
Yes, he does.
No,
I don't know.
There's
a tap of some
He
kind.
says like on
Oh,
podcast
no.
servers around the globe,
No,
I
know
go
what
like
it is.
this.
No, guys. I know what it is, by the way. It's not his hand. He grabs paper. It says
Oh,
around the globe.
But at
he
one
does
point,
the paper
at
tap.
one point, me and Greg
Paper
went
tap.
the globe, and we like clapped, and then we snapped one time.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you, I remember now that it was like the paper.
I hit marimbas.
Okay.
Mannerisms.
Fucking marimbas out in this bitch.
Tim had marimbas on the show today.
You guys supported us so much in the month of January that we're doing a whole world tour. You can see details on that stuff at kindoffunny.com/events. Fran, you've been on the show now for a couple weeks. Some of
Yeah.
the best episodes we've ever made. I feel.
Thank you.
You know, and it feels like the people.
I think it's been a
agree
month,
as
actually.
well.
It's sad to say goodbye, Fran.
Yeah,
Is it-
this is it. This is it. No, but
They
we
were
got
talking
a
about
show.
intros with this show.
We got a show that I feel today is perfect to have you two gentlemen on. We're going to be talking about Rage 2 that you got to see,
Yeah.
Division 2, Anthem, Apex Legends. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
A lot of shooting going on.
Star-studded show.
A lot
Let's
of
get-
shooting games, a lot of getting confused with controls. Like,
Perfect.
I was
it's
playing
like
the other
bouncing
game
back
the
and
other
forth
day.
between it.
Yeah.
Between all those.
But before,
Kingdom Hearts 3 for you.
Yeah, before we get to all that, I want to talk a little bit about Kingdom Hearts 3. The update from last week, I am now a lot closer to the end than I was before. I only have one more Disney World to get through. I'm in Big Hero 6 land,
Oh, San
aka
Francisco.
San Francisco. It's very cool.
How many
I like it a
hours
lot.
would you say you've played
I'm
so
like
far?
22 in,
Oh.
I would say.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I think I from what I hear, I have about 8 left.
So it's not insanely long. Like maybe it's a
No,
30
no.
to 40 hour game.
Yeah, everyone that I know that's beat it has been around the 30-hour mark. Some a little less, some a little more.
Yeah.
I feel like my game clock's pretty accurate. Like there was one time I accidentally left it on,
Yeah.
but
But whatever.
maybe
yeah.
add 15 minutes or something.
22. That's still plenty of time. And were you like a big fan of the previous ones? Like,
of Kingdom Hearts? Yeah, I went into a lot more details last week on my initial impressions, but everything I said last week stands, and it just kind of continues. I'm very excited to finish this, go home and play. I'm hoping to wrap it up. I wanted to beat it by today, but that just didn't happen.
Story of our lives.
What's making people finish faster than is it them free roaming or?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the game's fairly linear. It's actually very linear, which I appreciate, but there is a lot of like side things you can go off and do. None of them I'm not really going to do. There's one thing that I like, which is the hidden emblems that are the hidden Mickey signs that are just all around the world. And if you collect or take pictures of enough of them, you get to unlock the true secret ending. I'm not going to do that though. If I don't get enough in my natural playthrough, I'm just going to watch it on YouTube. Like,
smart move.
Yeah, exactly. But
are you understanding the story at all?
So here's the thing. I said this last week, and I've said it on a couple shows. The story's not hard to understand. It's just not good. Like that's my problem. And I know it's not a popular opinion among everyone. And like I've never seen a game more divisive than this. It's insane. The fan base is so ravenous for this franchise. Right. I feel like you're just not allowed to have any criticism whatsoever. Make no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I love this game. I'm having such a great time with it. It's super fun. The combat's rewarding and cool. And like there's so much about this that's polished and really feels like a lot of love and care was put into it. But I have a multitude of criticisms for it that I feel are very fair. And it's not just comparing it to modern games and being like, oh, well, it doesn't hold up here. Because a lot of people are like, oh, you keep saying it's like a PS2 game. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm like, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but
not a good thing.
In a lot of ways, like there's real, I'm not just saying that as like a boilerplate, like easy answer of like, oh, it's dated. It's like, no, like it's very floaty. Thankfully, there's not much platforming, but the jumping and camera and stuff is not that great.
So there is platforming. Yeah, like
very, very light.
Still like a little.
A lot less than Kingdom Hearts 1 for sure. But it just kind of feels, specifically story-wise, right? This has always been a problem with the franchise. The Disney stuff feels like it gets in the way of everything else. Like, especially in this one, all the games have been leading to this. This is supposed to be like the climax of this story that's been building for now 20 years, right? With all this huge cast of characters that you either know or you don't know. But the thing is, like, do I understand the story? I do, because they really beat you over the head, like, to make sure you know everyone. It kind of reminds me of like Game of Thrones, where like there's so many characters and it's crazy to look at it now and be like, oh, I could name all of them, or at least I could be like, that's the Red Witch.
Here's the beef. Here's what these
it's
people
like, I don't know
angry at each
her
other.
name,
Yeah.
But it's like, I know who they are. I know what they're doing.
And it's
I
that
know
way in Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah, definitely.
It's like that many characters that are.
Okay. Yeah.
I never had time to get into
characters within characters of like, in my heart, there's 3 other hearts, and it gets very ridiculous and it's convoluted, but it's like every time something's weird, they explain it over and over and over and over. Like, you'll know that this character has 3 hearts in his heart because he'll say that 1,000 times. And then Don will be like, oh,
sounds exactly like him.
but going through this, it's like, 20 years of the story building, like it feels weird to be like, it's not like there's a world ending threat, but it definitely feels like the bad guy, there's a big deal bad thing going on. And it has never felt right and still doesn't feel right to be like, but we're going to help Rapunzel do this thing.
Sure.
Even though there's a big thing going on.
Yeah, it's like, we're going to put that on hold because Remy from Ratatouille needs some ingredients. So let's get him some food. You know what I mean?
So you think it's just like shoehorned in?
It's not that it's shoehorned in. It's always been this way. So that's the thing, is it's like, there's a nostalgia to this game that I love, where it's like, it feels like a simpler time of playing games. And like the Disney stuff, the Disney worlds themselves, each are about 2.5 hours. They're really enjoyable, and like there's a lot of fan service put into it. Most of the voice actors are the original voice actors from the Disney movies, so like having them back is cool. Awesome. And I feel like the biggest compliment I can give the story elements of the game are, I feel like they do a really good job. And this is not exclusive to the Disney side. This is also with the Kingdom Hearts exclusive characters. They do a good job of making each character act the way that they should and speak the way that they should. So it's like when you see Hades from Hercules interacting with characters, it feels straight out of the movie, even though he's saying and doing things that weren't in the movie, versus when you see Axel, who's one of the Kingdom Hearts Organization 13 characters, like he has all of his catchphrases and he has his lines and he has the way that he interacts with people. And it's like they really stay true to each character's kind of archetype, you know? And that stuff's cool to see because there's a lot of Disney magic there. And at this point, there's a lot of Kingdom Hearts magic. Like there is memories tied to these characters that, you know, I grew up seeing in a bunch of different games, and like they all have, and it does get very convoluted and ridiculous, but it's like, that's part of the charm of it. You know, it's like, this is one of those games where you're either going to know you're going to like it or you're not going to like it. Like there's no in between. It is fun, I think, for anybody though. I don't know anybody that's played this game and hasn't said it's fun.
I bet it's got to feel refreshing to not have to like unlock towers or like any sort of open world thing that we're sort of used to in single player games nowadays, where it seems very linear. It's just fight to the next cutscene, fight to the next cutscene. But I have been seeing these gummy ships. What the hell are these
Gummy
about?
ships have always been an issue in the franchise. That's it's like, that's how you get to the different worlds. You fly this little gummy bear ship that Chip and Dale help you make. It's great.
Perfect.
Like
Makes perfect sense.
Just alls.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's best in this game than it's ever been. But every time I have to do it, I'm just like,
Wait, do you fly the ship or they
you
just
fly the
take
ship? It kind of feels like Star Fox. Like,
Okay.
you're in a light
That-
Star Fox. This game has a lot of mini games.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing I've heard. It has a lot of like sort of call it cutaway to a new like
Style
simple
of
but
gameplay.
fun mechanic maybe, but mini game type stuff all over. So it sounds like it's got flying, a little
just
bit of platform occasionally. It's got just mini game
little,
stuff.
like, cooking.
Sure, it's got slots. Okay, it's got cooking.
Yeah,
it's just got everything.
It's everything in kitchen sink, which it's what it's always been.
But that's what it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is what it
God
is.
damn, I want to see the ESPN 30 for 30 on this fucking game so bad because it's like, again, like 12 years of just development hell.
It's not though. See, that's the thing. There's a misconception about the franchise and about Kingdom Hearts 3 in particular. This game was announced in 2013. Announced.
Yeah.
It didn't exist before then. All the other games that they're not like spin-offs, they're titles in the franchise. They're just not numbered.
Yeah.
You know? But like Kingdom Hearts 3 was not delayed. Kingdom Hearts 3 was not.
Yeah, there was just a break before they announced it, and then it took 5 years.
It was announced at E3 2013. And so it's like that's the thing, is like this game is modern. Which is kind of the craziest
Yeah,
thing,
I see,
is that
I see.
this wasn't an old game. This was a new game.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because it's on a not too far off the path of both God of War and Red Dead Redemption, and they all were in development similar times, time periods.
Yeah, about 6 years or whatever.
Yeah.
now.
So
Yeah.
I mean, to your earlier point, and that's what I've heard. It's like, this is for Kingdom Hearts fans. It's got that quirk to it, and it is a bit archaic feeling at times.
But the thing there is like,
but that's what it is.
I do feel like it's for more than just Kingdom Hearts fans. I feel like you can now become a Kingdom Hearts fan playing this game. Like this one, it's as much an entry point as 1 or 2 were. Like,
But like,
you're
why-
not going to be lost. Like you can jump
Yeah,
in and still not like it.
I'm
but
less worried about that. But I mean, mechanically, why should I play this game?
the combat's
or
fun.
should I?
The
Okay,
combat
what
is
makes
fun. The
combat
combat's
fun?
rewarding. It is a lot of different systems that are overwhelming at first, but then you get into a flow where once you're a couple worlds in and like you're actually facing like a horde of enemies of Heartless running at you, it's jumping from one to one to one. It's like you feel like you're controlling a cutscene, but you're controlling it. You know,
Yeah, is it context sensitive,
a
like
lot of that, and Kingdom Hearts 2,
timing?
yeah, like quick time event type things, but
little like Paper
but
Mario
not in the negative way. It's not like people use QTEs as like an insult, but
No,
Kingdom
yeah.
Hearts 2 was really that, and God of War was what I think popularized that type of gameplay mechanic, that alongside Resident Evil 4. But I feel like Kingdom Hearts had always done it in a way that's like, we're gonna keep things moving and keep them flashy. The combat is fun and flashy. And it's like, to me, that's
cool.
That's the core of this. And it's like, there's always some fireworks going on. There's always some craziness, but you always understand why. You always feel like you're in control of making those things happen. And again, it's fun. Like at the end of the day, it's fun. And seeing these characters interact the way that they do is really cool. The polish is unreal, which is why when things are off, it feels extremely noticeable. And yeah, there was a bunch of complaints that I went over last time, but like there was a weird moment, and I like Frozen as a movie. I like Let It Go. I like all this
saw
stuff.
you tweet about this.
Like I feel like people hate on it because it's popular,
Right.
But
bandwagon.
in Frozen world,
Just like Fran hates AC/DC.
Well, oh God,
Anyway,
pre-show
okay,
stuff.
keep
That was a
going, Tim.
Had to
pre-show
be
thing.
there. Never said that.
Yeah, you did.
I said they were overrated. Let's move on.
You get to Arendelle, and like in the beginning, I'm like, they're doing some cool things with this world. It's a little barren. The whole game's pretty barren, but it's pretty as shit. Like it looks like the
Yeah.
movie, right? You're going through the main story beats of the movie because that's how. All
Oh,
the
really?
Disney
They
worlds
intro
work.
all these
So
little worlds
that's
that
what
way.
the Disney.
That's kinda cool.
When you go to the Disney worlds, you're essentially playing through a modified version of the story of the movie. The Pixar ones are different, but the Disney ones are all that. And you're going through Frozen, and then it gets to the Let It Go part, and the song starts playing. I was like, oh shit, they're actually using the song, because most of the time they
Yeah.
don't. It'll be like Kingdom Hearts sounding versions of familiar melodies and stuff, which is
This
really cool.
guy is my friend. Like just changing the lyrics. And stuff.
But I mean, like the "You've Got a Friend" in Me, it'll be like that melody, but it's like using Kingdom Hearts instruments and stuff.
Oh,
Like,
I see.
Kingdom Hearts has a very distinct musical style, and that is something that is 10 out of 10. The composer is Shimomura is amazing, and full orchestration for all of this. It's like it is definitely an achievement in score. But then Let It Go starts playing, and it's actually Let It Go.
Like, just
it's straight up Let It Go with Idina Menzel as the voice of Elsa, and which is really
Oh,
cool.
that's
Yeah,
cool.
Kirsten Bell is Anna. Like they're the voices. Gad, what's his name? Josh Gad is Olaf. Like they're all there. But Let It Go starts playing, and it's the full song.
Yeah.
They do the whole
They
scene.
paid for it, I guess.
I mean, it's theirs,
Yeah.
right? But they do the entire Let It Go scene, and it's like if you put it next to the movie, I bet it'd be the exact same
Probably.
thing. Like it looks
They just
exactly like
recreate a
it,
shot
What's
for shot.
happening?
which is cool because it's like a testament to how pretty this game is that
Wait,
it can
so
look
they-
like the fucking movie.
They cut
it's
the
in
scenes
engine.
like that. Okay.
It's in engine, but it looks exactly like the movie.
But then it just cuts a goofy.
But every
Ooh.
4 seconds, it'll like, not 4 seconds, every like 15 seconds, it'll just cut to Sora and he's like, huh? It'll cut to Goofy, he's like, gosh. Like, and it's like so fucking funny, but like that's quintessentially Kingdom Hearts, where it's just like, there's this weird dissonance between what are you trying to accomplish with
Yeah.
this? You know, but at the end of the day, the power of friendship, man. May your heart be your
May your
guiding
heart
key.
be your guiding key, dude.
in your
Yeah.
heart of hearts.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. I'm gonna need that tattooed on me. That's gonna be on my tombstone.
Hell yeah.
But
But
yeah,
again,
this just seems
I
like
love
a
it.
game that I want to try out because I know nothing about the franchise, and I think that I would find a lot of comedy in it.
Dude, you would.
Yeah.
Totally.
Probably.
And then that's my thing.
Make for a good
Honestly,
Andy
I think
stream.
you playing it on stream, and you too.
Yeah.
But you especially with your fucking sense of humor, it's like it's gonna be great. You're gonna have fun with it. It's very easy to make fun of, but like there's cool stuff. There's gonna be a lot of moments you're like, that was pretty cool. And again, this sounds like a negative thing, and it is, I guess, but
You don't have to,
Don't preface it,
candy
Tim.
coat it.
Don't be
Yeah.
scared of
I
them.
don't know. It's
What are you
it's not
afraid of?
scared. It's I
Be
feel like
careful.
this
Be
movie.
careful.
I know this movie
The fans.
has got the amount of comments that I've received
Sure.
that are like, or I've been getting DMs from people that are like,
Yeah.
"Hey, you should have somebody that is an unbiased Kingdom Hearts fan
Wow.
talk about it." I'm like, what does that mean? You're obviously biased. Like if
Yeah.
you're saying that, because again, I'm loving this game, but the game constantly
careful, though.
builds up to these epic moments, and it's like you're in a fight that you're like, this feels earned. This feels like, oh shit, I'm gonna do that thing. That's great. The music swells. The arena you're in is like super fucking cool. Sunsets and like exactly all that stuff. But I feel like every time that happens, it's very much them being like, this is epic. You're doing some epic shit.
Oh.
And it's like, it's a little on the nose, but
Yeah.
again, you just got to kind of let that go because it is epic.
Let it go.
Let it go. It is fun. It is cool to do that thing. Every single time I'm always like, this is cool. But it is like they're telling me it's cool, which kind of takes away
Yeah,
from it.
it does. It's
Yeah.
like the uncool way of telling
Yeah.
you to do it. But,
then-
but
and
that is
Donald's
the
there.
style, to your point,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't be Kingdom Hearts without it, I
Yeah.
guess. So.
But then, like, one of my favorite things about this franchise, and always has, is whenever they go to a different world, they look like they're supposed to belong in the world.
Right.
And when I got to Pirates of the Caribbean and Donald and Goofy look realistic, it's rad. You're like, this is freaking tight. I wish there was just more of that.
One thing I've noticed and don't really I appreciate the effort put into it, but I don't love the design choice is to make all the UI elements match the animated world. Of like how when you are in the Hercules world,
Oh,
like
the
your
UI
health bar
changes.
and all that stuff looks like.
Yeah. You don't like that?
I don't like that. I don't
oh my
know.
God, I love it. That's
it
what I'm
just
saying.
feels it just feels a little cheesy
More
to
to
me.
learn.
well,
Oh,
it
it's
is.
just-
It is. There's nothing not cheesy about this game, but you can turn that off in the menus.
Oh, okay. It'll just go to a standard.
Just the default Kingdom
That's
Hearts
cool.
look.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Like they give the option to turn that
Like
on.
again, it's a thing I appreciate. Like, wow, they went through a lot of effort to have UI elements for all of these different worlds, but it just looks kind of tacky to me.
Gotcha.
I don't know.
Huh.
And again, I feel like it looks better in other games because like it just fit. Like the Halloween town in Kingdom Hearts 2 from Nightmare Before Christmas, like with that theme, with the characters look, with everything, it's like this is beautiful.
What's your favorite world so far?
In this one,
Well, I guess will it be spoiling anything? I don't know.
no, all the worlds are known.
Okay.
Like they've all been in trailers. They're all public knowledge. What?
It is known. It is known.
Oh, it is known.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah. As
Top
much as I
few.
want it to be Toy Story, it wasn't. Like Toy Story, its highs are definitely the best, but overall, I feel like there's a lot of stuff that isn't that fun. I just want to make sure I'm not fucking. Monsters Inc. was really cool.
Okay.
Yeah, Monsters Inc. was my favorite one.
Pixar stuff seems like
Yeah.
it stood out a lot, huh?
And I think a big part of that is because it's not just going through the plot of the movie. Disney holds on a little too tight, whereas Pixar was like, hey, do something original. We don't want you retreading
Yeah.
the story of the movies. So, anyway, enough about Kingdom Hearts
Interesting.
for now.
On the record, I would play it where I don't know where to find the time to do that, Tim. But
Yeah.
knowing that it's like, call it a 30 plus hour, not bad.
Yeah.
So that makes me feel better because from the outside, I would have just assumed Square,
60 hour.
legacy of, decade old game,
I mean,
franchise.
it's an action RPG.
yeah.
Like
So
it
it's
has
not like
it has more in common with like a God of War than it does Final Fantasy in a lot of ways.
yeah. But God of War
OG God.
too, though.
Spiky hair, though.
You've used the wrong word.
Really
A lot
awesome
of spiky
hairstyles.
hair. A lot of
I
anime
love
hair.
this spiky hair. That's
See, Andy,
tons
you
of
gotta
anime
play for
hair.
that,
I'm
dude.
down.
A lot of great
Lot of cute
hairstyles.
boys and girls.
Yeah, I love it.
Down.
Love it.
So yeah, I asked this question before too. I'm always afraid to get into games because I feel like if I can't finish them, then what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
Is this a game you'd recommend even if I can, just go out buy it and I don't mind playing it for 5
so-
hours?
so,
Is that first 5 hours worth it? Or you're like, no, you gotta.
That's the thing too, because like the game is designed, it's linear, and each world is about 2.5 hours.
Okay.
So it's like
you can get something out
yeah,
without
and in
playing
between
20
that,
hours.
let's say there's 30 minutes of cutscenes in between each bit. But it's like, yeah, then you just get to the next world. And it's like you can stop. Like each world is contained enough that like it is its own experience. Real quick before we move on from Kingdom Hearts, Barrett, can you get on that guy real quick?
Hi, hello.
You are playing Kingdom Hearts 3
Yeah.
pretty much blind.
I
How
played,
far are you
I
now?
played Kingdom Hearts 2, to be fair, 2 years ago.
Okay.
That's not that blind at all.
Very, very blind. I'm digging it. I beat the, can we talk first, like, hour spoiler of
Yeah.
the title screen?
Yeah.
I got to, like, the 2.9 bullshit.
I made a
and-
joke about that. Like, imagine if they put like a 2.9 thing, and then I saw it happen, and I was like, "There's no fucking way!
Yeah.
You're kidding me, dude."
Yeah, so basically all of Olympus is like the 2.9, and then
Yeah.
after that, it's like when you get to the story, the main story of like 3 or whatever. And I was digging Olympus, and then kind of the beginning, quote unquote, of 3 is going to Twilight Town. And just like KH2, when I hit Twilight Town, I'm like, man, I really don't give a shit about these characters. But I feel like I just got to push through and get to the fun stuff.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I think I know what the next world is, and
Push
I'm pretty
through. Different review from Barrett.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not.
Oh, so you felt that way too, but eventually.
Well, he's talking about
games-
specific parts.
Yeah,
Oh, I know,
I'm
but-
talking
Because
about
he's
a
talking
specific
about the world
His
being.
tone is very different from what I just got from you. I'm just saying.
The gameplay is fun though. Like I feel like from what I vaguely remember of playing 2 a couple of years ago, like I do enjoy it. I don't know like what improvements they made, but maybe it's just clicking for me more this time around.
Really? In my opinion, they didn't make improvements. They made changes.
Gotcha. But I don't know. It's clicking for me this time around. I like the
Careful, Tim.
Careful, Barrett.
I like the control scheme and all that stuff. But the one confusion I've had is like, you hold down L1 and you have like kind of these like
Quick menu.
hotkeys
Yeah.
and stuff. I have like potions set to like one of them, and it won't let me, even though I have like hella potions in my inventory, won't let me use them. And so I'm confused on like whether that's something like
Voice
I got unlocked.
activated.
I think you tie that to, it's tied to one potion. It's tied to a specific item.
Oh
So
my
after you use
God.
it, then you need a hotkey to a different specific item because you can only hold a certain amount.
Some
per
Final
character.
Fantasy 15 bullshit.
Game
right?
design, man.
Yeah. But
It's hard.
I know once I get past Twilight Town, which I feel like is the majority of kind of like the Kingdom Heartsy type of bullshit, and I get to the next world, like I'm gonna be all in. Because when I was going through Olympus,
It's the
it
only-
was super fun.
It's the only Kingdom Heartsy bullshit. I'm using Barrett's quotes, not mine. And it doesn't take that long. It's
Yeah.
like there's maybe an hour you're in Twilight Town, and then
Okay, cool.
the rest of the game so far. I'm in the last Disney World now. There's none.
So it's not like
It's straight
Kingdom
through.
Hearts 2 where the first 5 hours are in Twilight Town.
No.
And you're playing as this dumb kid named Roxas and you don't give a shit about him.
It's not like
God!
that. It's not like that.
Yeah, fuck Rock.
Noted.
Let's talk about a different game. Rage 2, Fran.
Oh, all right. So I had the pleasure to play Rage behind closed doors several weeks back now, but then there was an embargo that was up, I think, last week. We didn't have a chance to talk about it last week. So here we are. So Rage, just to catch you up, originally Rage came out many years ago from id proper, and then out comes, Rage 2.
It was really tan.
It was very tan
very
and
brown
brown,
and tan everywhere.
post-apocalyptic world.
They're like, we're going to solve that.
Yeah.
Kind of, now it's a little more Mad Max and some neon colors, etc. But the gameplay is more fundamentally changed. Just as a reminder, it is from the Avalanche folks
Who made Mad Max?
who made Mad Max, actually.
Game of
Yeah.
the generation.
But more importantly, now I'm blanking because I drank this Campari. Their main game starts with a J.
Just Cause.
Just Cause. Good Lord. It's been a long day already. But yeah, so I mean, they're the Just Cause developers. So skipping forward, this game is more open world. It's definitely got those vibes of Far Cry and Red Dead, and it is a shooter, but you also can hop in, a vehicle and drive everywhere and get these missions. It's got a little bit of the Blade Runner vibe too. I get a lot of questions about how is it going to be different than Far Cry, and they're very different from a gameplay setup perspective and a feel perspective, I would say. Like, this is also an ability-based shooter. Far Cry is not as much tied into that. As an example, I know that it's got the neon paint and it's got this post-apocalyptic feel, but quite honestly, having played both of them, they're definitely different from a gameplay feel perspective.
Yeah, the first time I played it at E3, it reminded me, the combat I talked about this reminded me of...
I played at E3 as well.
Of Mass Effect, where you're pushing people and
Yes.
pulling people and making them float and shooting them in the air, and
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that sort of aspect of the fighting.
Yeah, and that's the perfect thing to bring up. It's like when you get in an engagement with someone, you're not just throwing a nade and shooting them. You have a ability set that you're going to improve as you go along the way. And you can combo into stuff, and it's more effective. But it's still, it's produced by id and all that. But the point is, it is developed by someone different, and it has that feel. What I can say is I'm definitely excited
Produced by
about
id?
it. Huh?
Did you say it's produced by id?
Yeah, from them and Bethesda and everything, right?
It's software.
Yeah.
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 Really?
Well,
Rage?
yeah, because that's what Rage originally was. That's what I was getting at. Originally they did id, from
Yeah.
Quake and everything
Yeah,
before
yeah.
it. They did the first one and developed this engine, and it actually has none of that actual tech in it.
Mm-hmm.
That was actually, what was that engine called? The Tech 6 or Tech 9 or
I don't remember.
one of those. The point, that's why I was trying to make sure that people know it isn't just like taking the old tech and upgrading it. And
Yeah.
but they're still overseeing it. It's Tim Willits, who comes from it, and they're all overseeing it with.
They were very
with them.
proud to say, hey, all the shooting mechanics that you loved in the most recent Doom,
Yeah.
this is a lot of the foundation is from that. So these are you have hardcore shooter developers that are helping make this,
yeah.
not just Avalanche who made
and
Mad
that's-
Max.
that's what I'm trying
a lot
to
of
get at.
crossover.
Interesting. Yeah, I thought it was just Avalanche. I didn't know.
No,
all the rest
yeah,
of this.
yeah, and that's sort of
okay.
it's a property that. And I asked Tim Willits about this. I believe it was Tim. I was like, how are you guys feeling about having somebody else do your game, And it was like, hey, when we find a great studio, this is something we want to do, but you've got to find the right partner. And so obviously this is a developer they really believe in, working with them obviously on Mad Max and stuff like that, I think was where it all really started. And they're like, oh, you should just take this property and do it. And actually, Rage had plenty of criticisms too, right?
Oh, yeah, the first one did. Tech 6, I believe, is the...
Yeah, I think it is
Yeah.
Tech 6.
I was on Jeff Kanata's DLC podcast last week, and he was at the same event. He got to play
Yeah.
some Rage 2, and we were talking about it. And he was saying that he had a great time with it. The gunplay was fun. Just kind of the idea was fun, and everything about it was cool. But he was disappointed with the feel of the vehicles,
Yeah.
which he
So
was
I was just-
surprised by because he loved Mad Max, and that was so vehicle based.
Right. So that actually was one of my main concerns currently. And I talked to the developer about it. And I was like, hey, if I have one point of feedback above all, it is the driving. I was running into situations where you would try to turn a corner. You'd roll off a cliff, but you couldn't control the vehicle in a way that you felt like you could save yourself. And it just getting over certain things, it just didn't feel great. Ooh, Kevin's got some Red Bull off
Maybe,
camera.
Fran, maybe you're just a bad
If
driver.
you have any sugar free, I will take one. Yeah.
You know what?
What, was that just
give
for
that to
him?
Papa.
Oh, I see.
Because I asked
Can
for it
I
earlier.
pour some in my...
Don't even worry about it then.
No, we have sugar free. I'll go grab you one.
If you do, don't even worry about it. So
Thanks,
anyway,
Tim.
definitely the driving, which you travel long distances, and actually, quite honestly, you drive for a while sometimes. So You can even get into shootouts with other people driving. Interestingly, there was a racetrack set aside. It's like a race mission that you do in your vehicle on like a loop track, and I imagine there's more of it. That was more tuned up than the open world.
Interesting.
So it gave me hope that I'm like, wait, like I think they know what they want to do, but it's like behind. I think the game comes out in April or May. Is it May? It's right around in there because I know it's right around Days Gone and everything. But I feel like I didn't set it up right in that. I'm definitely still excited for Rage 2. I have a feeling that May 14th, thank you very much, Barrett, who comes out May 14th. But I feel like I'm more excited about it than as much as I think Far Cry New Dawn is going to be like a satisfying game. Thank you, Kevin, for the Red Bull. I think it's going to be satisfying. I'm excited about Rage because it's going to bring a new feel to this open world of shooters. And honestly, there's not a lot of games out there like it. Far Cry is like it. You know, Red Dead is not the same, but it has that feel of this big open world. And so there's definitely something there, but I think we need to spend a little more time with it. Yeah, the driving's got to be tuned up, but definitely where it shines is what, I think Andy brought up was the abilities and like this feeling of power that you have, and it's pretty cool stylistically. And then I would also point out the story. It does have this very like
Reminds me of Borderlands.
Yeah,
like,
I
where
guess
it's kind of like a it's a very the vibe reminded me of Borderlands and Grand Theft Auto, where they're over their world and it's very oh god, I can't even think of the word, but it's very sarcastic. It's kind of like it's the end of it's the end of the world. What's
Self-aware.
Self-aware, yeah, it's a pretty good one, Tim. Yeah. It's a pretty good one. Yeah. But like their president is kind of like this, like super, like he reminded me of Terry Crews in Idiocracy.
Yeah.
Where
it is exaggerated. The
whole
whole
thing is super exaggerated. Exactly.
It's a bit of a caricature of itself. Maybe I'm trying to think of a word now too.
Those are all good words, guys.
But we're trying, Andy. Just be careful.
I'm not good with the words.
Just be careful.
But actually, I also feel that the story does have a little bit of. It always reminds me of Blade Runner when I see a world like this. It's not quite cyberpunk, 2077, which definitely has a Blade Runner feel. God, but it actually brings that. And so again, I think when you look at the game and the world, it's bringing some interesting story feel and vibe, maybe a little cheesy and exaggerated time, we'll see. But the core ability loop and the way that feels, I think it shows some promise. But
parody? Is that the word?
What?
Like a parody?
Blade Runner parody? No.
I'm just thinking of other words.
Just be careful.
Word.
Thanks.
So overall, interested, want to see more. I felt like, maybe just to wrap it up, I haven't seen it now in like 3 weeks. And I wasn't able to record footage. They provided some footage, and I'm left feeling, I'm like, I need to go back and like watch it. Mm-hmm. But I think that says something about the gameplay, is that there's some stuff in there, but it just didn't quite stick. And granted, a sea of a bunch of other things going on, but they need that stuff to stick. Like I played Apex Legends, and I know it's hot, but like I played that for a few hours, and I felt like the gameplay stuck, the feel of it. So I'm not quite sure where this one's gonna land yet in terms of that feel, and it's like super important, obviously, for a game like that.
Moving on then, Division 2. You guys have both played a bit of it.
Just a bit.
A little tiny baby bit.
Yeah,
so
you played last night, Andy, and today you played, Fran.
In between, Games Daily and this.
Yeah, the beta opened up at 1 in the morning.
Yes.
And so I texted Tim but never sent it, like, hey, I'm going to stay up to play the Division beta, which is weird because he walked up and was like, what have you been playing recently? I was like, I told you last night, but okay. And I was like, oh, nope, never sent the text. Yeah, I play. The beta opened at 1 a.m. in the morning. I was having... I noticed a lot of issues with like texture pop-in, like a
You're
lot.
on PS4
a lot,
Pro?
yeah. PS4 Pro.
Pro. Just making sure. Pro,
Tons
regular.
of issues.
It's
like,
important.
I mean, nothing game-breaking or anything like that, but every room I'd walk into, everything's smooth as fuck until level 2 pops in and then level 1 pops in, you know? And that happened all over the time, even in a couple of cutscenes. I was like, why does this seem like a really, like an HD'd PS2 game remaster?
Was it doing like a texture flash in, or was it literally just like...
It was taking a while for it to load.
Eventually when it loaded, it stayed thoh.
Sure, yeah. So it was more of a performance thing, but I was also noticing that whenever I would throw a grenade, I would see or the sound effects would come maybe like half a second after, kind of bizarre. I really enjoy how they are adding these encampments to the world.
The settlements?
Yeah, the settlements I think are really cool. I think that will sort of make it better for people who want more of a single player experience, where when these games come out, there's a lot of single player fans who are like, yeah, but is it going to be okay for just single player? I think a lot of these things will help alleviate those issues, where you walk into a settlement and they have requests for you to help them with, and when you go and gather those things for them, their settlement grows stronger, and you can recruit people from there to go work back with you at the White House. It's sort of obviously we've seen the previews. It's a summer sort of vibe as opposed to a
it's like
cold
a
winter apocalypse.
Summer vibe. It's really interesting. Yeah.
I'm really interested in so how they are alleviating those single player experiences. I think it's pretty neat. I like did you unlock the little robot that you can throw out there?
I mean, I was only it's like it literally. I was like, I want to be able to talk about it a little bit.
Right.
So I played it for like 40 minutes. What happened was, right, you go to the no spoilers here. You literally just go to the White House to get set up, and then it's like go to the first settlement. And I got there and talked to that lady, and that was it. So I haven't really been able to do more than unlock a couple abilities and shoot a few people.
Yeah.
I got the feeling for the world, though. That's the only thing I can speak to currently.
I've seen people say that it feels more alive than the First Division.
Yes.
Where the First Division I played maybe 10 hours of and then kind of quickly gave up on it because I believe Destiny came out shortly afterwards and I got sucked into that. I think that's what happened. Maybe not. But
Did Division come out in 2014? I'm trying to remember now if it was before or after, but it was a March.
Yeah, all I know is that I didn't play a whole lot of the First Division, but a lot of people have said the world feels more alive in this one. There's this really cool ability where you can buy certain upgrades while you're in combat. So you can buy a drone that you can send out and it flies towards people and has a cooldown. And it flies and shoots at people and you can shoot at them while they're being distracted or whatever.
There's a lot of that. Yeah, that is what honestly Division stands on, is it does have this deep statistical gameplay. It has it in the guns. It actually has some in the abilities. And that's what I started to notice. There's unlike what you maybe would expect, is them trying to make it more accessible. And I mean, I think they are with all the work they put in the presentation. It's like deep. Like, I mean, I don't know if any of these upgrades were made at the end of the First Division, but like seeing like the gun, it's showing like graphs on the guns and like deep statistics. And there was quite a bit in the First Division, but the point is they've kept a lot of that. And I think that is what makes it a really fun game to play if you want to go that deep. If you don't, I agree, I think, with what you said, is that like the world feels pretty alive, and going to these settlements, talking to people, the presentation of just being in DC in the sweltering heat in the summer, there's like pools of like old, moldy water out in the streets, and there's just like, there's fighting everywhere. It definitely feels cool just to walk around in that world.
Yeah.
From a gameplay perspective, like I played the first year on and off throughout the updates. Greg and I played. So, as the Dark Zone changed, they changed a lot with the balance of that game, that it got to the point of like, well, it's a great idea, but it's not what I saw in, the demos at E3 to like, this is pretty solid, but, I've kind of done all this and it's for the hardcore. But this, and that's where I was wondering, Andy, did you keep up with a lot of the first one? And no, you're saying you played just a little, did you only play it at the very beginning?
No, I mean,
you played some of the updates?
Oh, no, no.
First
Yeah,
Division,
I did not play any of the updates.
But you played it at launch?
Yes.
So it's funny because like Division now is already a very different game, with all the quality of life improvements they made and
it's
all
like
the
1.8 at this point.
It's exactly. And this, I mean, I think this is even farther than that, right? Like let's call it 1.5 or less. But this is a pretty, I mean, at the start, I feel like it's a big leap.
That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, so do you think that when this launches, it's going to be a great game that kind of looked at all the things that needed to fix from the first one and have like out the gate?
Yes, I think that they already had proven with the first one. They already know how to do it, and it's going to be bigger. It's going to provide more depth. You can go deeper. They fixed some things that were probably bothering you. What I think it's going to suffer from is that it's such a, I was talking about it today on stream very briefly. The look of that world is very realistically approached. So it's not photoreal, but like, in other words, an enemy's not going to have like an outline on it to make it easier for you to shoot them in the head. I mean, maybe they do and I can barely see it, but everything is so subtle and green.
No, it was definitely tough to see.
You know what I mean? It really is like you were trying to spot these very detailed enemies in a very detailed world with foliage that's green and brown, and you're like struggling to navigate through this world almost as if you're there. And so part of that's a strength, but I think some of the negative is like that's kind of how you perceive the last one too. It was like it was New York, it was the winter, there's a lot of like buildings at night, etc. And this one you kind of get the feel for the day. So how much variety does it have in that to bring, and also like meaning versus other games, like a game like Anthem or Destiny and these more Rage even, like they really stand out as a style where this is it's Tom Clancy.
Different
it's
worlds.
It's like a cover.
Where different worlds sort of stand apart in Destiny. You have these beautiful planets that all sort of have different backdrops.
Like
but
this
in here,
is real.
is it all going to be this sort of hot brown toned Washington D.C. You know what I mean? Like it's all very yellowy.
Samey. Yeah. So for you guys, I feel like you both are very into these type of games.
Oh, yeah.
And when we look at the last couple of years, like let's just even start with Destiny 1, right? And then even the with Tom Clancy, like Rainbow Six Siege coming out, with Division,
Wildlands,
with Destiny 2, with like there's so many of these games that they come out and they're kind of like good, maybe great, but like not feature complete and like need a lot of improvement over,
I don't think it's going to be
time.
If that's what you're getting at.
Has there been a game yet that has been a success out the gate that has been doing all these games as a service things correctly?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
I feel out the gate, Overwatch was kind of nailed a lot of what it needed to nail. And I even feel like Apex is doing that now.
Different strokes, but I know where you're going with this.
Yeah.
It was, both of them were very polished and they stayed in their
Lane.
Lane. That's exactly, thank you, Tim.
Good words
I was
today,
like
man.
thinking about hallway and I'm like, that's not the word. It stayed in the lane.
Yeah.
Their lane was more narrow though. Okay. And these games are like, 6-lane highways.
Yeah.
Like honestly, very different. So anyway, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But they're a little more.
I do feel like at the end of the day, the Division 2 will be a game that I will mostly enjoy only if I'm playing with friends. It doesn't appeal to me playing only single player.
Yeah.
Whereas with Anthem, like I could play it however and it doesn't matter to me.
Really? You think that's a different
that's
discussion?
fine.
but-
And I think it's just more of a different strokes thing where
Yeah.
I appreciate the hard sci-fi world of Anthem and maybe this Last of Us sort of overgrown world, post-apocalyptic DC doesn't really appeal to me a whole lot.
I guess
Yeah.
that's my question
That's
then to you guys with Division 2 is like looking at, I would say Destiny 2 was the last time that one of these games of service launched that was a sequel, right? That should have fixed all the problems, but didn't for the multiplayer gamers, right? For the people that are treating it as a games as a service. Do you think Division 2 will be the first time that they're like, we got it?
I think out the gate is not a fair question because none of these from server, like they were already having like some issues on the private beta and hopefully this stuff will be fixed, but we just don't know. They're always riddled with that. And then like basic little balance things. But I will say I have high confidence that this is going to come out because I really like Massive, the developer behind it. This is something that, again, they've learned so many lessons, not only from the launch that they did and each improvement they made. They had the benefit to iterate and say, do you like this? All the fans are like, no, we don't like, we like that. They're like, great. And they just did that for years now. And then they're like, well, meanwhile, while you've been doing that, we've been making this whole new thing that is supposed to upgrade everything. So I have pretty high confidence that for fans of this style of game, again, if you prefer this sort of realistic look, very statistical shooter, I think it's really going to nail that. And then we're going to want some improvements, but I don't think it'll be anything like the first game. And certainly games like even Anthem, and how much Destiny had to learn after they tried Destiny 2 and changing that formula up. I don't think they're going to suffer from that. In fact, I think they're taking a safer path too of like, we know what you guys like. It's bigger, it's better. I talked to Greg in the endgame now. There's a whole new set of characters that come out instead of just more yellow bar types of the enemies you already fought that take forever to kill. So I think that it's going to be pretty darn solid. And I've only played it for 35 minutes. Full disclosure, I never got previewed E3. I'm not, I've never had like previews with Ubisoft and the pleasure of that, so I'm not really tainted.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
This is my first time playing the Division 2. I know, I don't even know if we could talk about. Never mind. I won't.
Never mind.
Don't even talk. I won't even.
I don't even
No,
know
we
what
can't.
he's
Greg
talking
played it.
about.
Greg played last
Okay,
week.
cool.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Division 2? Yes.
So
Yes.
he went to that event or whatever.
That
and
embargo was up just the other day, whatever.
Got it. Yeah. I agree with Fran. I think that they are listening to their fans and they know what the fans want and they know what to improve on. Now, with this whole smorgasbord of games coming out around the same time, like, who's going to survive? It's really, really interesting to think about.
I was already thinking about that because that's the world I live in, and I'm like grateful that Destiny is like only got a certain amount of content to play, and like some people I know that's their life and they love it, and I respect that. But I'm happy that I don't have a lot to do. Anthem is scaring me, obviously, because that is my #1 most anticipated game still, and super excited about it. But Division, to be totally upfront, yeah, I've always wanted to be an expert at it and be in that world, and I've not been able to keep up. And so I was getting asked this question the other day, like exactly this. So like with all this stuff, Fortnite, Apex, Destiny, Anthem, Division 2, they're like, how am I supposed to keep up with it? Part of that's rhetorical because they can't, but legitimately, it was a real question. And I was like, you can't. You actually have to choose how you're going to play this stuff. So I'm making a strategic choice for now with Division, unless I can, figure out how to, survive on just playing those games. But I'm like, I'll play that game for, 60, 80 hours, and I'm really going to enjoy that, and I'm going to wish that I could keep up with it. But I know that I can't. Anthem's the one that if it retains itself, I will continue with, and I'm going to spend a lot of time.
Making the big bets on Anthem, baby.
Well, I don't know, but the point is, you do need to go in and just be like, it's okay that you only played it 50, 60 hours. You don't have to keep up with the endgame updates. And there's a lot to enjoy before that.
Yeah. And that's how I felt when, people were asking me last night about, do you think the content will be there? And I had the problem. Not the problem. It benefited me with Destiny, where launch Vanilla 1 Destiny, when it came out, a lot of people felt it was short of content. But I was so fucking busy. I was like, I beat it. Like I'm fine that I'm done with it, and I can move on to something else, or just deal with my regular kind of 9 to 5 Best Buy job or whatever. And so I appreciated that it ended where it did. Mm-hmm. And so I know that a lot of people don't see that as a benefit at all. They see that as like, oh, well, there's not enough content there. But for me, it's like, man, if I can kind of get through the main stuff and be done with it and move on to something else, I'm kind of looking forward to that. Yeah,
it's the type of player you are. I bring it up because I think there's a pressure these days, and it goes from Fortnite now to Apex Legends to these games especially, which are more than just battle royales. I mean, there's these big games as a service that if you don't understand everything about it, like, I feel like people treat you like a loser sometimes. They're like, why aren't you don't know all this stuff. Why didn't you get everything? And like, that's okay. I want to say it's okay. Like, if you want to play Destiny, there's this high pressure that when you come in, the other players are going to be like, oh, yeah, it's this thing, and I got to lesson.
You only played 3,000 hours?
Yeah. But it's I don't think it's even intentional. They're so eager about the world that they live in, but it does come across, I think, as high pressure. Even with Kingdom Hearts, I was just like, I don't even want to say anything because I'm like, I didn't. That's why I disclosed. I'm like,
you should be careful.
But I have not played the past ones. I would have loved to, but part of me knows there's people out there and they're like, you didn't play the first Kingdom Hearts. This guy, I can't trust him. And you're like, you can only play so many games in the world.
Yeah.
We come from the privileged position where we get the games for free, right? Like the games are given to us. Sometimes, yeah.
I need to start begging for games free again. So yeah.
But
we do.
For the people out there, but the people out there, even when I remember working at Best Buy and all right, I have $60 to spend. Which game is going to get my $60? Yes. And if you happen to pick the game that has the smaller amount of content, or maybe the game that's not as engaging, you will feel like shit. I should have spent on the other one.
It's interesting you bring that. That for me is another point, though, and I actually would say, again, it depends on the type of person you're speaking to. Some people are more than happy to spend the 20 hours, and they're like, that was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, for me, personally, for me, it's like Resident Evil 2 is worth $60.
Yeah, it's like 15 hours
13 hours, and I'm done with it.
I love short games, dude.
Me too, but it's like, I'd rather...
Even if you paid for it.
For the quality there, man.
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
But I think whenever I did reviews in the past, I always did try to tackle that. I'm like, if you want to go deep, you may like it for these reasons, blah, blah. But if it's for the value of it, maybe there's not enough content, but the story is amazing and you should play it. So I don't think you should judge games based on the time played, purely on that. It's important.
Well, it's quality of time played.
Yeah, but it's also
needs to be
how
quality
you
and quantity.
play.
If you have a 1,000-hour game, but it's not good, it's not good.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
If you have a 5-hour game that's amazing, it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's why, even for me, take the challenges out of, say, Fortnite every week. They do these amazing, good anyway, challenges that you can go out and do, and it keeps you playing, and they're changing the world. I'm just happy that it's a free game and it feels good to play, and I had fun with it.
Yeah.
It's amazing that they keep it updated. So I think, it's how you look at this different stuff.
All right. Well, I want to talk about Anthem, but before we do that, this episode of Kind of Funny Gamescast is brought to you by Robinhood. Robinhood is an investing app that lets you buy and sell stocks, ETFs, options, and cryptos, all commission-free. While other brokerages could charge up to $10 for every trade, Robinhood doesn't charge any commission fees, so you can trade stocks and keep all of your profits. Plus, there's no account minimum deposit needed to get started, so you can start investing at any level. The simple, intuitive design of Robinhood makes investing easy for newcomers and experts alike. View easy to understand charts and market data and place a trade in just 4 taps on your smartphone. You can also view stock collections such as 100 most popular. With Robinhood, you can learn how to invest in the market as you build your portfolio. Discover new stocks, track your favorite companies, and get custom notifications for price movements so you never miss the right moment to invest. Robinhood is giving listeners of Kind of Funny's podcasts a free stock like Apple, Ford, or Sprint to help you build your portfolio. You can sign up at greggy.robinhood.com. That's GREGGY.robinhood.com. Now back from the ads.
Just in the future, you could just be like, oh, hey, there's an ad here.
Cool. Cool.
Great script.
We're using a new system here.
Yeah.
We're trying to work out the kinks. But yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
Yeah.
Anthem.
Yes. Frantham.
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 Whoa, it's like
Oh, yeah, I've
Destin
been
with
using that
Destiny,
for-
and
Yes,
now Fran
it's
with
the Frantham,
Anthem.
baby. So I think we haven't had a chance to talk about it on the show
No.
yet then, right? Which is interesting because now there's been several demos, but we just haven't had a chance to sit down and talk about it. So I touched on it already a couple times. I'm still very excited for it. We talked a little bit on Games Daily today. They have talked about more of the end game. That is the number one question, and it goes back to what we were just talking about. A lot of the hardcore players are like, how much is in the end game? How much is in the end game?
Show me the damn roadmap.
That's right.
You know?
So they have. They
Give me
showed
more
you some.
graphs. Give me more charts.
They showed you there's an Act 1, Echoes of Eternity or something like that. So I got
Going in March or whatever.
I don't even know what the planet's called. We got a kind of funny you're wrong today saying
They
there
said
is
that
no
they
name.
haven't
I'm like,
named it
really?
yet.
Maybe
no,
we
I'm
don't
pretty sure
know.
I saw echoes of it.
That's
No,
what
no,
we
no.
act.
There's no name for the planet.
The planet. Well, maybe
got
there
it.
is, but putting all those facts
Eternal echoes of the destined mind. Like, I don't know.
aside. No,
just
that was Kingdom Hearts 3
bunch of
subtitle.
adjectives and nouns.
Traverse Town.
But anyway, they have an end game plan. I thought it was very interesting that after the game comes out, which is February 22nd, this act stuff doesn't really even start hitting until into March. So they definitely have some end game plan. We know that there's like months out there, but all I can say is this. Number one, I know that people, and I'd love to hear from, I don't know if you played some Anthem.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Played a lot
I'd
of it.
love to hear from you about where your head sits on all this. The VIP demo was a hot mess in terms of tech. Servers, rubber banding, disaster. Getting kicked out all the time. Then they fixed a ton of that, but still getting kicked out of matches and some other like weird little quirks here and there for the open demo, which came a week later. And I think it's giving people pause of like, I don't know, it's not like, Apex Legends launches full on and it's pretty smooth overall. So by comparison,
I don't know about that.
overall, we'll talk more about it. But meaning it's not like, separate. We'll talk about the tech issues. But anyway, it was vastly improved, but I think people are very concerned with like, is this thing gonna like even load in correctly? Is it gonna work? But I'm gonna put that aside for a second and just say the feel of the gameplay. I've never felt like sort of a sci-fi fantasy flying ability based, RPG game as a service like this. That's what it's bringing to the table for me. And it is different from Destiny. Destiny's a first person shooter, very different gameplay feel. I always remind people, and I always will, I think on the show, that's what I'm about. You can talk lore.
Smell.
That's the smell of the game, exactly. And sometimes the taste. But for me, that is the most important thing. And I always use that example when Mario slides and turns and the friction under his feet and down to the whatever the number is that they figured out, made it feel good. There's all those types of things that make it special. And so I think Anthem has that special feel to it. Flying around and use controller, even though I play on PC, I would not want to give up that feel of the suit. And they do a pretty cool job with the world. I mean, it's very artistically beautiful, and so I think I could go on and on about it's a world I want to live in. I don't know how much is there yet. It's too early to say. I have played the tutorial, though, and we weren't able to record it, and I'm not sure how much we can talk about it, but I call it the tutorial, but it's the opening of the game. So it's got promise on, call it a cinematic sci-fi fantasy level. The open demo featured a live world event where they put a storm in the sky, and these titans were dropping in.
I unfortunately missed that.
And this is what the end game is supposed to culminate in. So I think what we saw in the open demo, you're supposed to all of a sudden, I guess, you're like, do you see the sky? And you're going to go into free play, and it's going to be like this rift in the air is like torn open.
That's cool.
And apparently it's going to get worse, is what I think. And it's going to turn into this full-on cataclysm event or whatever. And they teased this at E3 years ago or whatever now. It culminates right in the Shaper Storm storm, and they literally go into this like crazy storm of light and debris and everything, and come out on some other side probably to face this huge challenge.
I
So
remember that was the E3 demo that wowed us,
Yeah.
where the Iron Man style thing flying through
Yeah.
the forest, and there was just like the storm happening. It's like, Jesus Christ, this looks amazing.
That's what's supposed to be coming in the end game. So like the potential's there. I understand the tech concerns, and you're right. I think you shouldn't buy the game if you're worried that that's not going to come through. I have confidence that, look, EA is launching a lot of services from Battlefield 5 to Apex to this. Eventually they'll figure it out. I actually think at launch they'll be in pretty good shape. They learned a lot. So I'm still super excited. Still my number one most anticipated game. So we'll see where that lands.
yeah.
I think it's fucking trash.
So what about you?
I've
You played the open demo, right? Or the VIP demo?
I played the closed beta too, and I played E3.
Oh, yeah. You're not supposed to talk about the
Well, you know,
It doesn't
You're not
matter.
supposed to
It's
say what you
irrelevant
felt
now.
about it. is
Yeah,
what
the smell. You
You
can
could
talk
say
about
you
the
did
smell.
it, but now I can say that like I don't whatever.
But most recently, you played which one? Last week's?
Both
Or-
of them.
Oh, you played both?
Yeah,
Okay.
I played both. Yeah, so the first one, of course, I loved following all of the devs on Twitter and seeing all these like
careful.
funky ways to get around bugs.
Yeah,
where it's like
workarounds.
If you do this, hit start and then go down here, and then it should be fine. Like weird little things like that were going on.
The metagame. is what
Yeah,
they call
there
it,
was
actually.
there was the 90% load issue where it would get to
That-
90% and you would have to just close out and restart, and it would
Yes.
enter you right back in where you started.
That one was a huge
tons of tech issues, and for some reason I wasn't annoyed with the tech issues as much as I have been with Apex. But we'll talk about that in a
I
bit.
can't wait to talk about
I'm so excited for Anthem. It speaks to me on every level in terms of
it. Got you baited.
you got debated.
I thought you were going to say you were really concerned.
No. I can't wait for this game. It's what I've been looking forward to for a long time. I'm a huge BioWare fan, and I think I've mentioned this one time where I feel like what Titanfall did to Call of Duty, where it added new maneuvers, like this is doing that to Destiny, where it's that same sort of vibe game, but now you're flying around, and I've never felt cooler in a game.
Right?
And I think that's like
Yeah.
such a basic thing to say about a game, but I feel awesome playing it where I'm flying around, I'm doing barrel rolls, I'm throwing grenades, I'm shooting,
Yeah.
the hovering, all of it feels incredible. I tried out
just
two Titans.
hovering, right?
Yeah.
You're just like, you're just hovering
It just
in midair.
feels incredible,
And
yeah.
they've been doing things like that forever, but the small touches, it
Yeah,
feels
absolutely. I'm playing on PS4 Pro, and
Thank you.
I'd say the closest thing that I remember about Andromeda, where I didn't play a whole lot of Mass Effect Andromeda, but the combat I feel they really nailed, and I feel like a lot of the best parts of the combat in Andromeda made it to this, where just the maneuvering and running around feels great. But again, the flying, I feel like me and Barrett played a bit where you get to the very, very end and you fight the big spider, and
Yeah.
it's dropping down, and that was just a really fun encounter. We ended up losing, but it was a fucking blast to go through the waves, to shoot the things, and it's such a basic sort of enemy encounter where it's waves of enemies, shoot them, shoot the big thing, it goes away, shoot more away, but it's engaging because you're sort of doing this thing I've never done in a game before, which is flying around and finding ways, and which is why I think I'm going to enjoy this a lot more than the Division, where in the Division it's a cover-based shooter. It's holding circle to run to this
Yes.
wall, popping.
Very different.
And I enjoy the athleticism of this game more.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Being a
nothing.
freaking
There's
Iron
nothing
Man.
like feeling cool.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when a game can accomplish making you feel cool.
Yeah.
Like that's just the best. The closest I've ever played to a game that, and I haven't played Anthem yet, but
Skate.
to that
Skate 3.
no, but Zone of the Enders, where it's like
Oh,
you're in
wow,
a mega
yeah.
flying. But even that, I feel was just the closest I've ever been to feeling cool flying a mech and
Right.
shooting and whatever. But that it wasn't right. I'm very excited to get my hands on this and see if it feels the way you guys are explaining it.
Like just flying around the world, I think is awesome. Will you get into what is frankly more of the spreadsheet RPG kind of combo mechanics that BioWare can take it to? I don't know, but meaning I think it's just amazing to fly around this world and free play and shoot stuff. You can start there, and I think that's a lot of fun. But I'm excited about the depth, and of course, as a Destiny type player and fan, there's hard mode, and then there's Grandmaster 1, 2, 3, which you unlock after endgame, which comes after level 30. And there are bigger and bigger rewards. And like as an example, in the open demo, I started to, and granted, again, it's in my DNA. I got this Devastator sniper, which just you charge up this snipe shot and it hits like
It's
a truck.
so fucking
man.
awesome.
The DPS was amazing.
Feels great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I want a better roll. You could get one with more in the mag, which was more of the God roll in the open demo. God rolls are a thing in these types of games, and so I think it's going to have that potential. It's something that we haven't been sure of, but I'm pretty confident.
I love the voice acting, the story. Like,
Yeah,
it feels like
cohesive.
it feels like they obviously like put a lot of effort into making the story area first person, which I feel like it's been a great change with Destiny because you're in third person, kind of running around, and you're seeing your
you mean
friends.
Fort Tarsus?
Yeah, being in Fort Tarsus, I think, is incredible because you're seeing these NPCs and they're talking directly to you, and the voice acting is great. And I think the facial capture is far and away better than anything we saw in Andromeda.
Good. Yeah.
And I just love them talking to you as opposed to being a third person walking around
That's true.
in this story
I never
area.
thought of it that way. It
Yeah.
really does put you up close and looking at
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
It kind of forces you, I feel, to pay more attention. A really cool little quality of life thing that they did is they let you change the size of the number pops when you shoot an enemy, which is really, like, who would have thought of that? But it's a cool little addition. I can't wait for this game, dude. I'm so excited for it.
I know you guys have mainly played the multiplayer stuff and not too much of it, but do you think that this game is going to succeed as a single player linear campaign? For someone like me.
I just don't believe you can play it single player, and you're going to have to matchmake to get by stuff.
I have my,
I don't know
I
that
have my
for sure.
doubts, for sure.
I did try playing a few things solo, and I guess you could turn down settings. It's just not dynamic.
It's not built that way.
It's not built that
Cool.
way.
Yeah.
Best case scenario, and by the way, I believe you have to play online for the whole. Yeah, you do. You can't play this game offline. That
doesn't matter.
But that's like exactly like in the year 2019, like whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
and you should be online, but there's no reason not to matchmake. I think the question is, are people going to be? Here's one of the big ones I'm concerned about. If you play with other people and they start freaking dragging you forward through these checkpoints, I think it's going to be very frustrating to try to like have this experience where like I don't want to talk to them, but I just kind of want to explore and do my thing. But I could use your help. You're kind of caught up in like you probably are going to need to find a team and talk to someone.
Yeah, your teammates will drag you towards a checkpoint, and you're like, "Oh, I'm almost getting there." Oh, load screen. It's taking me to where they are
and then
now.
it crashes. No, I hope that is not the case in the final.
Yeah, I love the gunplay. How many javelins did you use?
All of them.
You use all of them. Okay, so I only
played
used
40 hours, by
I
the
only
way,
used the
of it.
Ranger and the Storm.
Okay, yeah, I've
I
used
fell
all
in
of
love
them.
with the Storm.
That is the other thing, man. Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the Javs. There's
I love that we're calling
I
it
know.
Javs. Let's do it, man.
Let's do it.
The Fran
Anthem.
I'm all about it. But I went in thinking you were just gonna like kind of one or two would really be, great, and the other ones need work. They are all vastly different, but they have really. They just feel so good.
Yeah.
And the Colossus is actually, it's the one that you're, maybe if it's not your play style, and it's usually not mine, that big tank type, you're not likely to try it, but oh my God, try it. Because, and I'll tell you why, the coolest freaking thing you can do, and it shows the level of detail with the gameplay programming that you could, take for granted otherwise. So he has a shield. So in Anthem, you have your health meter, and then you have your blue shield on top, like a lot of games these days, right? Colossus does not have a blue shield. Colossus has an actual shield. So you basically just have your health, which are pretty resilient, and not until you pull out your shield, and then you see a separate new meter just for that shield.
That's cool.
It's really cool, but the coolest part is you can actually shield charge at people. And so you'll get these rows of enemies, and you literally charge at them, and you, like, it's literally like the Hulk running through a crowd. It's like, gush, 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 gush. They go flying. And you can actually hold the shield while you're flying and bash the shield into people. So there's like these little touches on the classes, and that's a great example. I'm like, it's just fun to play.
Yeah.
And you were saying earlier about the classes on one of the other episodes that you can switch between. You don't need to stick to
Yes.
one of them.
Yeah.
Like that's
So-
what a great call.
Super important that people understand that too. With the Javs, you earn them as you level up. I'm going to always say Javs.
I love
too.
it.
I love it. So you earn them at level 2, 8, 16, and 28, I think. And the way it works is you're just unlocking them as part of your story and experience, and you might want to switch them. And I think a lot of people look at Destiny and other games are like, oh, I don't know which class to choose. It's the number one question I get. The only thing you got to worry about is which classes do you want to choose first, between 2 and 8 especially, because the rest are going to be a bit of a grind. And really the last one, what if you find out this Colossus is like totally OP and you're like, oh no, I didn't do it till last. But whatever. I think that's a nice problem to have if you want to play all of them. So.
I could not believe the level of customization with the colors.
Oh yeah,
It
you can really make it your own, right?
It felt like there's a program in 3D arts when you're making like art for games. It's called Substance Painter, and it literally reminded me of that, where it's all these different spheres, and it's, do I want brushed metal? Do I want painted plastic? Do I want painted metal? Do I want a brass looking thing? Do I want shiny?
It's all like old 3ds Max,
platinum.
like.
Yeah, exactly. It reminded me of this.
It
reminded me of a 3D program, and then so you pick the material for at least 6 different parts of your
There's
javelin.
hard plastic. There's clean metal and old metal.
I meant like the 6 different parts of like, so like for the storm, there's
the cape.
Yeah, they all have these
pieces.
different materials that you can add on to or whatever, and then from there you customize the colors.
Right, but
with a full color wheel.
Yes, but no, you're right. Each one of those parts you can choose to either be like a matte plastic, or you can choose like a special metal, which has its own type of characteristics. And in those cases, you actually can't color them.
Yeah, they're just
metal types. I mean, they
gold or
have
whatever.
different, they have rose gold and whatever.
Yeah.
But it's actually interesting. It's so detailed that one thing I noticed, to your point there, I was playing the early demo, the private setup that I got with EA, because we played it before the demo, so it was the near final game. I changed one of the materials, and I was so confused because I just couldn't figure out how to change the colors, and I noticed that material, you go right, but that material had 2 choices, because it was the etched version, so it had the sort of black etched line, which you could change, as well as the embossed part of it.
depending on how the light hits it or whatever.
Well, no, it was like interlay sort of texture.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you've seen that one where it's like a crosshatch is a better way to put it. So you can actually color the line as well as the color, but only if you had that material equipped. So the point is it's got tons of depth.
My mind was blown with the customization of the javelin, and that alone was like, all right, I'm in.
I mean, again, I feel like one of this game's biggest selling points is how cool it is, and it feels like with Destiny 2, one of the biggest criticisms where it's like, why can't I just make my thing look how I want it without having to pay or without it changing my
shader
stats
system
or without all this stuff?
Yeah.
This is them being like, hey, we're giving people what they want, because like that, we want you to feel cool, look cool, be cool.
Yeah.
Jav it up, baby.
I think
Jav it
it's
up.
worth noting, though, the final disclaimer, though, is that just like with Destiny 2, I mean, we didn't really know what to expect. We thought they learned from the first one, and we assume Anthem learns from all the games before it. And when it comes out, we assume that a lot of it will be great. But we don't know. So, right? If you're not sure, I know I'm excited. I hear people even saying, they're like, man, hearing Fran talk about it, I'm in. But be careful still if you're not sure, and wait and see if you're not in a rush. But I have high confidence, but there's so much I haven't seen. And like the last thing I would want is for someone to turn around and maybe it was like same thing with Division 1. It was like, wow, that was not like I thought. They have a lot of work to do. I don't think Anthem's going to be in that scenario, but it could
couple
still
weeks away.
happen. February 15th, Origin premiere, and then February 22nd for the official launch.
Oh, they're doing that really popular
Confusing.
EA staggered
Everyone
release.
loves that.
Super popular.
Super simple. We don't need a
God, wait, it's a
chart
week
to see.
away.
Yeah?
Or it's the week of when this launches full on YouTube. It's like, it's Friday.
I won't be playing on PC, unfortunately.
I will.
I might get it. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, you'll probably be. Dude, it's beautiful on PC.
Although
I
I've
feel
heard flying on PC does not feel great.
don't play mouse and keyboard. I mean, I
Xbox.
get why people want to aim with it. I could go off for hours longer on why don't you just play with the controller, because it's an ability-based RPG with positioning your jav. Like, why do you need to aim so precise? I get it, and some people love that feel, that precision on the mouse, but the flying is no bueno right now. They know that. There's some patches coming.
Okay.
But
I've heard you have to lower your sensitivity to like the lowest thing possible.
then it changes when you swim. So when you are using the mouse to fly.
Oh my God, the first moment we hit the water, Bear and I were like, whoa.
No,
Holy shit. Like, this is awesome.
Oh, I thought you were going to say how bad
No,
the
just
mouse was.
just in the one mission where you're like, you're
Oh,
flying and it's like,
yes.
come down here and it's just like this
Dude,
whole...
there's sound
That's-
effects
oh
and
my
atmosphere
God.
is so cool. There's actually in the free
Getting
play.
goosebumps right now, dude.
Yeah, in the free play, one of the coolest things I discovered, like I dove down into this big like river, and I was flying through it, and I noticed like this wall
Boss
of
Nass
light.
is there, like,
Huh?
Yeah.
And I noticed Jar Jar's
You
down there.
son node.
I noticed this like wall of light almost, but I was underwater and under all this stuff, and it was like a waterfall, and it doesn't totally make sense, but it's a
SpongeBob
flat,
rules.
yeah, a flat wall of water, and you fly out of it, and I turned around right away, and I like flew in this waterfall, and you could fly into the water like full speed.
so
And you're just
cool.
like, It's so cool.
Oh, man.
That's
It's a cool
what's
ass
making it
game,
cool.
dude.
So, anyway,
Video games are cool, man.
Speaking of cool ass
Video
games,
games are cool, man.
Final thing of the day, Apex Legends.
Yeah.
Dude. Wow.
When I can play it, oh my god, I'm addicted to this goddamn game.
You've been having a lot of issues, a lot of crash
issues. Huh? PS4 Pro. Yeah.
PC.
A lot of issues.
Xbox One.
Oh,
X.
all
Really?
represented.
You're playing on that?
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up, bro.
Yeah.
Add me. Let's fucking play. I mean, I'm gonna
gonna
download
have
it everywhere.
crossplay soon.
I'm gonna download it everywhere.
Crossplay, but not cross progression.
Yeah,
So
which
that's
is like I don't really care about crossplay. I'd rather have cross
Exactly.
Kind of weird.
Big issues.
Kind of weird. Yes, I think Respawn did an incredible job with this game. I think they learned every problem that every other battle royale has and somehow improved upon it. I feel like if you're an antisocial person, the ping system is the most genius thing ever made and designed in a game. I think it's so smart. No fall
it
damage.
works, man.
I have
It's,
a lot to say about
honestly,
the ping
the
system.
ping thing to me, it's like it's so intuitive that like, you know, I'm not a big shooter guy. I'm definitely not I'm not into this type of multiplayer thing. We were doing a party mode of it and I'm in a room that was kind of far from you and Nick. And I was like, oh, do you guys have shields? And Nick was like, no, come to me, or like, where you at? And like, I just pinged that. I'm like, he knows where this is now. Like instantly, he knows where to come to find it. And it's not this weird like communication problem of like language barrier. You know what I mean?
It really is one of the most ingenious, simple, elegant things in the game, and it shows the pedigree that Respawn and all of their producers and everyone has. Like, this game is not an early access. You know, they're bucking this trend of like, well, you know, we were whatever.
Well, it's free, so it's going to have issues.
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes with a stigma of, and amazing what PUBG did, by the way. And it's amazing. It came out early access and it innovated and people followed, and I would never take away from it. But now on the backside, they're looking at that now, 2 years ago, right? And they're like, maybe we should try something. And then, right, they're in the middle of developing this, just so you know, right? They had started way back then. Then Fortnite came out after they already started development. Now they get to learn from that. And so you're right, they went through all this stuff, and I literally think, they had this checkboard of like, what frustrates people? How do we fix this? The ping system, man. Like, I don't know how many times right in Fortnite, I was like, oh, over here, do you want this? And you're like, where? Oh, it's the blue house and
Two-story.
upstairs.
Yeah.
Where? I don't see it. And you're like, and in this game, you literally, on mouse, it's you just, whatever, you press the mouse button, but any button, you just ping. And it's context sensitive. How genius. You can just ping an item and it's like, got a R99 here or whatever. And it's so genius that they have all the voice callouts because you don't have to talk to anyone. Even for ammo, you can open up your menu and without a dial wheel saying, I need ammo, you point to your ammo and it'll just say like,
I need heavy or whatever.
I need heavy ammo. Yeah, and you know on the bottom of the screen who it's coming from.
Now,
so it's genius.
I think because of how genius this ping system is, that they prioritized it, thus making your ordinances and your health less of a priority. Because, and it may not be, it's probably not the same for PC, but on console, it's a little frustrating to have to either tap right to use the thing or tap right to get to the thing and then hit right trigger to use the thing. I hate those extra steps.
I will say, so Tim, have you had a chance to really play it yet?
I'm never going to play it to a
Okay.
level of like
So-
that you guys are talking about. I'm having a blast with it. We did party mode. We played 3
Yeah, so
matches.
you've played.
Like, we
Oh,
played-
yeah.
we played several
But
matches, yeah.
I enjoyed, this is a thing to people that know my style of video games. I enjoyed this game so much that while I was playing Kingdom Hearts, I was like, I need to stop. I like paused it, so turned it off, booted up my Xbox, and was like, I need to play a couple matches. And I was just playing through by myself, having a blast, losing every time. But like, it's just fucking fun. I love the look of the world. I love how it's like, you know, these battle royale games, I feel like they need to keep trying to one up each other in the map meaning something and having its distinct areas. I love, this thing just looks cool, and it has a layer of polish that I haven't seen yet in
It
any of them. And I
does,
didn't play
yeah.
Black Ops 4, so.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. What is your general history of shooters? If and all you like them are
I
BRs?
love Halo.
Okay, so
That's
you're a
my
big
history.
Halo fan.
Yeah.
Did you get into Titanfall very much? Even?
No.
Yeah, see, and I think that's amazing though. That there's, and this is what I've been hearing from people. There's this like instant like hook feel.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Like, it just feels good.
Well,
man.
it feels good. That's
Yeah.
the thing. Going back to what you're talking about with the Mario
little
and all
things,
that
man.
stuff. It's like getting your hands on this. I'm like, ooh, I
Yeah,
get
just
this.
a little like animations. It all comes together nicely. But again, it wasn't that they threw it together. It's been years in the making and comes out of obviously all the experience of making Titanfall.
Yeah.
But going back to what you brought up, I will say I went through the same thing. Is everything's easy to use. You pick up attachments and they just hot swap, and it takes like, you know, maybe a couple dozen games. But overall, you're like, fine, I understand what's going on now. But it's in a game like PUBG, it's very confusing. You're like, what ammo is this gun take again? It's like very strategic. And
they definitely help out the user a lot by saying, hey, the scope you have is better than the scope on the ground.
Yeah, you literally, just to draw the comparison, if you don't know, in PUBG, if you have attachment stuff, and I don't know if they've really changed it, but the point is you have to know what attachments go on the other gun and like swap stuff around. And like now, if you have stuff that works on another gun, you just pick it up and it all switches instantaneously.
I did really like how it says you already have this, or like
it'll
you
tell
have a better
you have something
one.
better.
I like that,
Yeah.
but I do feel like just jumping in, this game has a higher learning curve than
It's a
the
lot
other ones so
on
far.
screen.
Besides the building in Fortnite, which I do think is like a beast to itself. But I like Fortnite's like color coded system because like that's simple to know of like if this thing's whatever color, it's better than the other.
Yeah, I guess
gun,
this has
right?
that, but only for items.
That-
It doesn't. The guns aren't.
And that's my thing is I have no idea what gun I should be
And
using.
I asked them about that, and like it's definitely they had to think about how to balance that, right? And you're right. There's like you're right. There's no rarity. You can get a fully kitted gun, and it'll say
And
it's
it'll be
yellow.
colored, yeah.
Or if it has a purple scope, it'll be purple. But it's not that the gun itself. And you're right. Like, how do you know if the flatline or the hemlock AR is better or whatever? You're like, I don't know. Should I use devotion? So
At that point, it just comes with playing the game.
So the good news is there's not a ton of guns. You only have to choose from a few, and very quickly, within days now. I mean, the community is already figured out. So I actually think if you just play it and BRs, that one's going to come fairly naturally. But Fortnite has trained you to think the other way. But I did talk to them about it, and they said that they leaned into the ammo type because they didn't want you to have to worry about picking up these different ammo types, which PUBG is a little more like deep into. So you have like, your gold, your teal, your green. It's pretty basic, but the point is there are heavy.
Red for shotties.
It's supposed to apply. This is a heavy ammo gun. You're supposed to be a little less worried that it's an AR or an LMG because it's about like ammo type. So I don't know. That was one of the things they looked at. But I mean, honestly, overall, they have a lot of info. I don't think they overdid it. It is.
I'm wildly impressed with this game, dude.
It's just a game you got to play, and you'll learn it. It's a language, man, and it's not that hard to learn. Actually.
I'm impressed
It
with
just
this
takes some time.
game from every standpoint, really. And like I feel like as a student of the industry and somebody that like really appreciates the marketing side of stuff, I think this was brilliant. I think this is definitely a perfect example of how to launch a good game.
Yeah.
It's like they
That's
really
free.
they put a lot of thought into like, hey, let's make a successful launch and guarantee that this game has sustainability based on the quality of the game, not based on promises, not based on anything else. Just like, hey, it's here, you can play it, and we're going to give you reasons to support us financially.
Mm-hmm.
You played for one night and you're like, fuck it, I'm buying this
Yeah, I
thing.
was
And I
like,
saw you buy the
fuck
whatever
it,
the hell it's
10
called.
bucks.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll give them $10 here and there.
Yeah, for like a skin.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because the Battle Pass is coming. It's coming in March, and they're going to have seasons. I also got to give them credit on that point, and I was really happy that I asked them this. I said, wait a second, there's like all this microtransaction stuff, and it's EA, right? And everybody wants to know. Had a deep discussion about choosing prices, and they're like, well, we do look at our competitors. So thanks, Fortnite, because that's why stuff costs $20 in this game, because you're buying it in Fortnite. So until you don't buy
Yeah.
it. But anyway, I said, wait, there's no emotes. Like, there's no, like, dances. There's nothing like an Anthem. And that one stood out because you would totally pay to have these amazing dances to do victory dances.
Just don't want to get sued.
There are finishers. No, that's people joke with that. It wasn't that, and I really respect them, and I think they really meant it. They said honestly, like it can kind of be used. You see it in Fortnite occasionally. Like certain things will give you an advantage of like a bullet goes over you. Or
Yeah,
something.
that's true.
And they said we just don't want to deal with that right now. From a competitive standpoint, we are taking it seriously. So I give them credit that it wasn't like they just looked at microtransactions and said we'll throw everything in there. I think they've been very thoughtful and like again, Respawn like that is a company, a team that made ultimately Modern Warfare 2 and some other very high caliber things before they went on to make several Titanfalls. So, I mean, they know what they're doing, and boy, does it show.
I'm really happy for them, and I hope this is the game that gives them sort of the freedom to make whatever they want to do now. Obviously, they're working on Star Wars, but like,
Yeah.
I really hope this is
Gives
like
me hope for that.
This is like that huge sort of breakout success that EA says, "Hey, man, you all fucking do whatever you
I
want."
kinda
We were talking
feel
about
like
that
this
today,
is it.
right? But
Like, I feel like this is them
you
being like,
said
this is
they-
what we want to do.
You said today they were already that, right? You said they were.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is I feel like this is proof of them like
Oh.
having that already and proving that they deserve it.
Oh, really? Because
Like-
this to me feels like Radical Heights.
Yeah, no,
like
I'm
obviously like different successes or whatever,
Yeah,
but this
yeah,
to
yeah.
me feels like the Radical Heights of like we need to make this battle royale because it's hot and hopefully we can. Obviously, it's really really good, so I'm not like down talking it at all, but the way Cliffy B released Radical Heights in order to hopefully give them enough runway for the next game, and it didn't work out. That's what this kind of felt like to me.
I think it's different,
but
though.
that was rushed out. More
Yeah,
so.
true. To me, this feels like this is the game that they wanted to make, and they put it out the way that they wanted to put it out. And that's my thing is like I've been reading a lot of different articles and interviews, and like I've talked to like different people in different places.
Secret sources.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything too specific, but like they're saying that like the conundrum with and the fiasco of Titanfall 2 launching next to Battlefield, supposedly. Despite popular belief, that wasn't EA. That was Respawn.
Yeah,
I've
read a few
we want to
things
do
about
this. We want to launch now. And like now when it's like, oh, Anthem and this, why would you put them so close together? It's Respawn being like, I want to put this out now. We want to put this out now. And to me, that says like they have their own plans. And like, especially when you see this game and with how much thought they put into it of the current landscape of video games. And like, they believed in this product and they believed in getting it out so that people can just get their hands on it and trust in it. I don't think that this is a proof of concept for what could be next. I think this is the thing that they wanted to do.
Got it.
You know, but I don't know. I mean, we'll see.
Man, no fall damage is great. I love it.
Oh yeah,
I love
another
no
like
fall damage.
great
I love
touch.
the being with your squad coming down. I think 3 is a great number.
Yeah.
I love being able to split off if you wanted to, but it's just so many weird little quality of life things. I
Yeah.
love the addition of characters, like the classes and stuff. Like that's so cool, and the different abilities. Like it's just such
the
rad
abilities.
stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting that at face value, you're like, oh, they took Overwatch, they took PUBG, and they took Call of Duty background more than anything. I don't actually think took a lot of Fortnite. Fortnite was obviously
Or
inspired.
Titanfall.
And well, some
Just
a
the
little
maneuverability,
Titanfall. There's a
but-
little bit, yeah, a little bit
sliding.
of those feet and the sliding
the
and some of the
sliding's so
field.
fucking
you
cool.
slide down a whole hill. But at face value, you're like, they just took all those things and mashed them together. And by the way, when I saw the reveal, I was like, this looks good, but it looks like they just kind of mashed them together.
Oh, I doubted the hell out of it. I was like,
Yeah,
when people
you
wanted a
doubted
Titanfall BR, they wanted a Titanfall
like-
BR. Not necessarily with Titans, but they want the wall running. They want like
Yeah.
the zip lining stuff. And well, I guess you get zip lining with
yeah.
what's his
Oh,
face?
you just made me forget his name. It starts with a Q.
A Q, really? Shit.
Soundwave is what we're calling it.
Yeah, that's what Tim calls him. Soundwave.
But all I was gonna say is at face value, you'd look at it and you would doubt it.
Sightline. Right?
Is it sight? You might be right about that.
Let me look it up.
I think I was thinking. I know. I
Jump
thought
Master.
his name was His name I thought it would start with a Q because on PC you use Q to use the zip line. I'm an idiot. A lot of late nights playing this game actually is why. But anyway, at face value, you can say, look, it looks like it's just taking these old ideas and mashed them together. It honestly is its own thing,
And it works.
They really have proved to me this is not even. I think they want to utilize the world of Titanfall, and by the way, explain some of the like.
Pathfinder.
Yeah, Pathfinder. Explain some of the world stuff. And so they leaned into it, but there's no Titans, and I'm fine with that now. But at first, I was like, it's going to be a stripped down Titanfall, taking these other elements. But no, man, it all comes together nice. And then they do these really ingenious things that just, it feels good.
My biggest complaint about the game is the name. And it's like, I know at this point it's too late and it doesn't matter. It's a hit.
I'm
Who
okay
cares?
with it.
I just think
it's
that
more
it's
like-
so lame and like
Apex Legends.
I think it is too, but it's like a game show that they're showing like who's the legend of Ape. You know, like it's
Yeah.
like they're with the banners showing like who the top killer is and all that fun stuff.
I think it's weird to have a 2-name game. What if it was just called Apex?
That'd be cooler.
yeah.
Is that why?
I think
Yeah.
that'd be cooler.
I have a
don't know.
feeling that they couldn't do Apex or something, and they're like, well, it is about the legends, and because it is odd, right? I mean, granted, PUBG is different. It's Battlegrounds. Wait, just Battlegrounds, but Player Unknown's Battlegrounds. But it is mostly one name.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird to have a 2-name game. I think that's what's getting people. It
I
sounds
think
overdone.
it's weird.
I don't
that,
care.
and again, it doesn't matter.
I just
it's
call
a
it
success
Apex.
already. And people call it Apex.
do too.
And
Play
it's
Apex.
fine.
They don't say
but
play
I
Apex
just think it's
Legends.
weird that they didn't involve Titanfall, even though it's not Titanfall. And I understand that. And also, I don't know that putting Titanfall in the name would have been a good idea.
I
so
think
it's like,
it's really smart they didn't.
They didn't,
It would have
yeah,
been
so-
confusing as heck. Mm-hmm. So I'm
But I
glad.
just like I guess here's my thing. When I went to download it on my Xbox One, I went to the hot tab or whatever the hell.
Hot
and
brown
then
tab.
you see hot brown. Hot brown. Good words. And I'm seeing all the different games. This did not stand out at all. You know, it's just kind of there.
So maybe is it about the characters and the color
It's just-
palette, or is it actually just the logo and the
The
that
logo,
general-
the name, like the
It
branding of
seems
the game
generic.
to me seems very generic and like
I follow
it's
you
not
there.
as good as the rest of the game. I guess that's the best point.
No,
I can
you're
make,
right.
Is like everything else is such high quality and took the best of each thing. This is like okay.
I love that there are no hard counters right now, at least with the heroes and classes that you're picking. Or like in Overwatch, it kind of feels like the start of Overwatch where nobody fully knew how to counter certain characters, and I love that about that, and I hope that they kind of keep that trend where now in Overwatch it's so like, oh, they're picking this, well I'm picking this then, and thus making you useless. Like I love that every character kind of has their own quirks that do make them worth, like they make them have worth.
That's the twist they put on it, was the ability-based battle royale. I mean, you certainly have like abilities in Fortnite, but it's the way they do this, the fact that you have a superpower or even a sub power, it really changed the game. Yeah, like Pathfinder can grapple quickly up places or create a full zip line with, is that the super?
With his ultimate, yeah.
Yeah, the ultimate creates an entire zip line for your party. And there's like all those things to balance out. It's a lot harder than you'd think. And yeah,
and that's
it feels
gonna be over
good.
time, you know?
Yeah, I will say with the game right now, I am definitely feeling, though, if you don't have a lifeline or a Gibraltar, somebody that's a little more powerful, or Lifeline's deal is she can like drop like a health pack and stuff. I'm feeling like you kind of need that ideally, but also I'm probably wrong. Like some people are probably running all of a certain type of class and you'll find out it's OP. But I'm not feeling it's vastly unbalanced, though, to your point.
No, same.
I don't feel like I get a super dropped on me, and I'm like, holy crap, are you kidding me? They're like little touches, and they go a long way.
I do like the idea of also when you open up the map at the beginning, it's showing you we're going to have more loot in this spot or
the
this
hot
spot.
zone.
I love the ship that has purple.
Random ship drop.
Yeah, I think it's really, really creative.
It's another, so literally that's where you go back to that list and they said, okay, it's hard to find items. So we created the ping system. It's hard to talk to each other. We created the ping system. Everybody just goes to the Tilted Towers or the popular spot. They created a hot zone. So like you're sending people randomly to these places. And then like the moving ship, like there's all these little things that I think they've really solved some issues with like the traditional BRs, and I think that's going to influence, you know, some thoughts that the other ones have. Before we move on or end or whatever, I do want to disclaim, as I had before, I am getting crashes with my 2080 on PC. I think, did you have technical issues?
Yes, I'm crashing about like every third or fourth game, and even when we
just in the middle of the game,
Dude,
Yes,
in
and
the
PS4
middle
Pro.
of our party mode, we're playing, and we were doing pretty damn well.
Yeah.
And there was a zip line, and he's going across, and his shit just crashes. We look over at him, and his character's just hanging midway on the zip line.
Yeah, and last night was especially frustrating because I don't mind a game early. I understand game development. Like I get that there are going to be problems, and I definitely do not mind the crashes in the beginning of games, partying up. Sometimes you exit a game and then it kind of locks up. You got to restart the game. That's fine. I can manage that. But
middle of a battle royale.
oh my gosh, that last night I sort of had the final straw where after at least like I feel like I had 5 crashes throughout my 3-hour
You're getting
stream
a lot more than
or
me on
so.
PS4 Pro, right?
PS4 Pro, yeah. And then I
like the Pro.
I'm with the squad and we just took out I took out the kill leader. You had to eliminate. I was like, fuck, I'm feeling good. I have like 3 kills right now. I have my fucking peacekeeper shotgun.
saucy.
Feeling great right now. Let me get this stuff. Where are we going to next, guys?
Who are you playing as?
Freezes. I was Bloodhound.
Ooh, yeah.
So
Tracking the enemies
game
down.
just freezes and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And it crashed and it was like my final straw of the night where I kind of like rage quit it. I was like, I'm fucking ending
What
this stream.
place were you at?
I think there was like maybe
You were
5 or
getting
4
farther.
squads left.
I got it even worse, dude. Let me explain to you. So it was, I think, the first night or something, maybe the second one. I'm closing in with CJ Gibson from IGN and this guy Click It that I always play. I've been playing back to Trials on Destiny, and it's the sweaty team, and frankly, they're helping carry me. But I was like playing well, and that's the one thing about this game too. I feel like I'm playing well in it.
Yeah, same here.
I'm just like I'm not Shroud. I'm not like this amazing natural shooter, but feeling good. Anyway,
I am, but that's fine.
yeah, I need to play.
That's right.
Teach me, senpai. So, dude, we're coming in, and we get this choke point, and it's through that big like hallway building in the center. Long story short, I'm like, let's go here. The circle's closing in 2 sides. I'm like, it's gonna be inside the building. We're gonna get choked in with the last team. We get inside, everything's going my way. I got a sniper, whatever. We get in the hallway. I'm playing Bangalore. I got the smoke dropping. It's like a Michael Bay movie. And I headshot someone, 109 headshot. Like, let's go. And I go up the stairs, and they're like, drop that smoke, you know, and like there's smoke everywhere because there was a Bangalore on their team. And then I just open fire and I knock someone down, and we were literally, that was the last squad. And meanwhile, I had CJ and Click on Discord. My game crashes out. I'm out. They finished the match. I didn't get my win. And it happened again last night. I got the same situation almost.
Oh, man.
So there's something going on that I've heard of with the RTX 1080, but maybe other driver issues towards the end of the game. And so now I'm like afraid to play because I was left like,
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's blue balls, the worst kind, man.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, I want my battle royale.
Yeah,
So
I won my second match ever, and I was like, all right, I'm pretty decent at this game.
So I have
and
no
then
wins.
From then on, it's been I'd say like every 3 or 4 games, I get a blue screen, and it just gives me the error code or
blue
whatever.
ball screen of death.
And then yeah, last night I played off stream with my buddy Brian Riley from Rooster Teeth and Khalif from Spawn on Me.
Oh, cool.
And so we partied up and we're playing, and I feel like every 10 minutes I'd be like, man, I'm so scared I'm going to crash. Like I just felt
That's
that
what I'm feeling
dread
right now.
I felt the dread, you know?
But it's especially because I've only got it in the top 2 places so far.
Oh, I forgot to-
feels like it's a bug for the top place.
Forgot to mention, I love respawning characters.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Another
that's really
brilliant
cool,
thing.
That's a
too.
smart like idea. The idea of like we could pick up our dead player's banner who was downed and was shot and killed. We could pick up their banner and take it to this drop zone. Do we
relatively
risk
close.
it?
Yeah.
Do we risk it or do we go
to
on
the
without
next
them?
one.
We see squads over there. I love that sort of.
What's cool about that?
Risk it for the biscuit.
It being the 3 player, you have to do 3. You can't do the solo and stuff. It's so team based that I love that when your characters die, you don't need to sit and wait and watch your whole team play for an entire match to get back in. There is that risk it biscuit thing where you're like, okay, we could bring them back if it's worth it. That's so well designed, so cool.
I love it.
It feels great.
Again, I want to play more. I'm just really, really worried. I hope that they release a patch sometime soon. Because I put out a tweet, anybody else crashing, and got a lot of no's and some yes
heard
all
a
the
lot of
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of no's though, for sure. And I got a lot of people like, play on Xbox, play on PC. It's like, guys, I mean, maybe.
The last
It's
thing
free.
I would bring up that I don't know if it was touched on a lot, but in the interview I asked them, I said, wait, why is it 60 players? Are you guys trying to like get it to 100? And they were like, yeah, just right now it's 60. But I was doing some math and I was like, wait, it's trios, but you know, maybe it was
33
just
squads at 3.
if it was 99, it would still add up. But if they're going for 100, that might mean they wanted to do squads, maybe. And maybe it turned out that they had to do 3 to start. I'm just
I
speculating.
think they were just rounding
So
up.
I think what will happen is
They'll figure it out.
they'll either jump to like around the 80 mark and they'll try increasing towards the 99 or 100. But then I have no doubt eventually squads will come in and solos. Like this is a place to start. Again, season pass starts in March. And it's interesting that it's a full launch and they did such a good job. You're like, wow, it's done. But no, they've got a lot of stuff coming. And I'm just excited to get more people on the map without the crashes.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Thank you very much for joining us here. We will see you next week. Or if you want to watch Kind of Funny Games daily, every weekday, twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, 10 a.m. Till next time, I love you.